I planned our wedding, but he planned his escape. Reddit Love Story Time. Welcome back to the channel. Some heartbreaks do not hit you all at once. They unfold slowly in the quiet moments you thought were safe. Tonight's story is about Rachel, a woman who spent months building a dream, choosing flowers, tasting cakes, booking venues, all for a future she believed was waiting just ahead. But sometimes, while you are busy planning your forever, the person standing beside you is already planning their goodbye. Have you ever loved someone so much that you missed the way their eyes stopped lighting up when they saw you? Have you ever built a life only to realize you were the only one still standing inside it? This is not just a story about betrayal. It is a story about trust, about blind hope, and about the shattering moment when you realize the person you chose with your whole heart was choosing to leave behind yours. Stay with me, because sometimes the hardest part of heartbreak is not that they left. It is realizing that they were never really staying. Rachel had always dreamed of a simple wedding. Nothing extravagant, just love, friends, family, and the man she thought would stand beside her for the rest of her life. When Tyler proposed, it felt like everything she had ever hoped for was finally coming true. She threw herself into planning every flower arrangement, every playlist, every tiny detail, because in her heart, building this wedding was the same as building their future. Tyler smiled at the right times, nodded at the right choices, but his eyes, they had started to look somewhere else. Rachel noticed. Of course she noticed. But love makes you hopeful, makes you explain away the cracks in the walls. He is stressed, she told herself. He is just overwhelmed. Until that night, when his phone lit up, a text from his best friend. Did you tell her yet? You can't keep faking it. Rachel's stomach twisted, her hands shaking as she clicked open the conversation. And there it was, laid out in casual, cruel words. Tyler was planning to leave. Not because of a fight, not because he stopped loving her overnight, but because somewhere along the way he had started loving her less quietly until there was nothing left to fight for. He stayed for the comfort. He stayed for the memories, but not for the future. Rachel sat in the dark kitchen, the wedding brochures scattered around her, the lists she had so carefully made. Feeling suddenly so meaningless, she realized she had been planning their beginning while he was quietly planning their ending. She did not wait for Tyler to come home, did not demand explanations. She packed her suitcase, placed the engagement ring on the table, and walked away from a future she now understood had never truly included her. Rachel chose herself that night, chose the unknown, chose healing over holding on to someone who had already let go long ago. Some heartbreaks are not caused by betrayal. They are caused by silence, by the slow fading of love that no one is brave enough to admit. Rachel's pain was not just about losing Tyler. It was about realizing she had been building a future alone, piece by piece, moment by moment, while he had quietly stepped away. Love, real love, does not stay out of guilt. It does not stay because it is convenient. It stays because it chooses you again and again, even when it is hard, even when it is messy. Tyler did not leave Rachel in one cruel moment. He left her a little more every day. Every time he said he was too tired to talk. Every time he smiled, but his eyes stayed sad. Every time he nodded, yes, but his heart whispered no. And Rachel, brave Rachel, loved enough for both of them until there was no more love left to carry. Healing for Rachel will not come from blaming herself. It will not come from wondering if she could have been prettier, funnier, smarter. It will come from understanding that no amount of love can keep someone who has already decided to go. We are taught that love conquers all, but the truth is love needs two hands, two hearts, two choices made freely every day. Rachel's greatest act of courage was not in staying, it was in leaving, in realizing that the life she deserves will never have to be begged for or held together with hope alone. Now let us listen to the voices from the Reddit community, because sometimes strangers say exactly what our hearts struggle to put into words. Who built? Unhope wrote, "The hardest part is realizing you were fighting for someone who was quietly surrendering." Likes. This comment speaks so clearly to Rachel's journey. She was building a life while he was silently walking away from it. Sometimes the biggest battles are the ones you fight alone, without even knowing. Stayed. Too long wrote, "Love should not feel like you are holding a door open for someone who is already halfway down the street." Chapter 10, 2K likes. Beautifully said. Love is not meant to be one-sided. It is meant to be two people walking toward each other, not one person standing still, hoping the other will turn around. Your backup plan wrote, "Choosing yourself after someone stopped choosing you is not weakness. It is power." 98K likes so true. Rachel's decision to leave was not a loss. It was a reclamation of her worth, her dignity, her future. Quiet. Goodbyes. Hurt wrote, "Sometimes the loudest heartbreaks are the ones that happen in complete silence." 9-5. Likes. This comment feels like it captures everything Rachel endured. Not with shouting, not with accusations, but with a quiet goodbye stitched from all the words left unsaid. Boy healing. Is leaving wrote, "You are not a failure for walking away from someone who made you feel invisible." Ike's powerful words. Rachel did not fail by leaving. She succeeded in remembering that real love should never make you question your own worth. Reading these comments reminds us that love is not supposed to be built on hope alone. It is built on choice, on commitment, on showing up fully every single day. Have you ever realized someone you loved was already planning their exit while you were building your forever? Share your story in the comments. Your voice matters here. He begged to come back and left again. When love got hard. Reddit, a love story time. Welcome back to the channel. Some heartbreaks do not happen in one devastating moment. They happen slowly, quietly, in the spaces between second chances and silent goodbyes. Tonight's story is about Nora, a woman who believed that maybe, just maybe, love deserved another chance. She believed that memories could be enough, that forgiveness could rebuild what time and distance had broken. But sometimes the hardest lesson to learn is that love that leaves once often leaves again. Have you ever opened your heart to someone who promised they had changed only to watch them walk away when love demanded more than words? Have you ever learned in the hardest way possible that some doors once closed should stay closed? This is not a story about bitterness. It is a story about clarity, about the strength it takes to choose yourself, even when part of you still wants to believe that love can save what was already lost. Stay with me, because sometimes the real heartbreak is not when they leave. It is when you finally realize they were never ready to stay. When Ethan left the first time, Nora shattered quietly, not with screams, not with anger, but with the kind of sadness that sinks deep into your bones and makes everything feel a little heavier. She spent months rebuilding herself, piece by fragile piece. Long walks alone, silent mornings, nights spent reminding herself that healing is not a race. And just when the edges of her heart started to harden, just when the silence stopped hurting, Ethan came back. With apologies, with promises, with the kind of words that sounded like redemption. I was lost, he said. I never stopped loving you. Please, let me fix this. Nora hesitated, because forgiveness is a heavy thing to carry. But her heart, still bruised, still tender, wanted to believe, so she opened the door and let him in. At first it felt right, like slipping into a familiar song you forgot you loved. Late-night talks, laughter that felt lighter than it had in months, hands reaching out without hesitation. Nora started to believe that maybe sometimes love really did deserve a second chance, but memories, no matter how beautiful, cannot hold the weight of a future if the foundation underneath has already cracked slowly. Ethan started pulling away. Late replies, missed calls, tired excuses, the same old wounds, just wearing new clothes. And then, one ordinary afternoon, Nora came home and found a note on the kitchen table. I can't do this. I thought I could, but I can't. No voice, no goodbye. Just a familiar emptiness settling back into her chest. Nora sat on the cold floor, note crumpled in her hand, and realized he had not come back because he loved her. He had come back because he was lonely. And when love asked for more than nostalgia, when it demanded patience, rebuilding trust, he chose to leave again. But this time, Nora did not break. This time, she did not beg, did not chase. She stood up, brushed off the dust of almosts and maybes, and closed the door, not with anger, but with quiet, final grace. Some heartbreaks do not break you all at once. They break you slowly, piece by piece, every time you believe it will be different, and it isn't. Nora's story is not about weakness. It is about hope, the dangerous kind, the kind that makes you open your heart, even when the cracks are still healing. We are taught that love means forgiveness, patience, second chances. But what no one tells you is that real love does not need to be begged, for real love does not knock. Once shatter everything, then return, asking you to rebuild it with trembling hands. Ethan did not come back because he was ready. He came back because he was lonely, because it is easy to miss someone when the nights are long, when the house feels empty. But missing someone and choosing someone are not the same thing. Real love chooses you even when it is hard, even when fear whispers that it would be easier to run. Nora opened her door because she loved honestly, and Ethan walked back out because he could not love her in the way she deserved. Healing for Nora will not come from hardening her heart. It will come from understanding that opening the door was never her mistake. Her mistake would have been forgetting her worth just to keep someone who never chose her with certainty. Some people come back only to teach you that second chances are not always gifts. Sometimes they are just second lessons. And the bravest thing you can ever do is not to take them back, but to finally close the door. Now let us listen to the voices from the Reddit community. Because sometimes strangers speak the words our own hearts have been too afraid to say out loud or left. Twice. Wiser wrote, the second time they leave hurts less. It hurts differently, because this time you know it was never about you. 9K likes. This comment captures the quiet strength in Nora's story. The first goodbye broke her, but the second goodbye set her free. For Real Love Stays wrote, missing you and choosing you are two different things. One is nostalgia, the other is commitment. 10, 3K likes, so true. Missing is easy. Choosing requires courage. Nora deserved someone who would choose her even on the hardest days. Sweaty healing. After Maybe wrote, second chances should not be given to people who only miss the comfort, not the commitment. 97K likes. Powerful words. Ethan missed the warmth, missed the memories, but he was never ready for the real work love demands. Better without. Begging wrote, "When someone leaves twice, believe them the second time without asking why." 9.5 likes. This comment is a hard truth. Sometimes the explanation we are searching for is already written in their leaving you doors. Stay Closed wrote, "You did not lose them. They lost you the moment they chose fear over fighting for love." 10.1k likes. This feels like it was written for Nora. She did not lose Ethan. He lost the chance to love someone who would have chosen him again and again without hesitation. Reading these comments reminds us that love should never feel like convincing someone to stay. It should feel like two people choosing each other without fear, without question, every single day. Have you ever opened your heart to someone twice, only to realize they were never ready the first time and still were not ready the second? Share your story in the comments. Your voice matters here. She trained her replacement without knowing it. Office betrayal, Storytime, Reddit. Drama, welcome back to the channel. Some betrayals do not happen with slammed doors or angry goodbyes. Some betrayals happen quietly in conference rooms at company retreats between polite smiles and professional emails. Tonight's story is about Laura, a woman who believed she was building her career, building her life, and building her future with the man she loved. But sometimes the person standing beside you is already making plans without you in them. Have you ever trusted someone so deeply that you never once looked for the signs, only to realize you missed them all because you believed too much? Have you ever poured yourself into building something only to realize you were handing all your knowledge, all your care to the very person who would one day replace you? This is not just a story about infidelity. It is a story about trust, ambition, and the quiet knife of betrayal hidden under the surface of everyday life. Stay with me, because sometimes the real heartbreak is not losing someone you loved. It is realizing they were never really standing with you. Even while they smiled across the table, Laura loved her work. It was not just a job. It was the place where she felt respected, seen, where she believed she and Daniel were building something bigger, both at work and at home. So when Chloe arrived, fresh-faced, eager, full of questions, Laura did what any good leader would do. She welcomed her. She mentored her. She believed that lifting someone else up did not dim your own light. Laura taught Chloe how to manage clients, how to navigate office politics, how to close deals. She introduced Chloe to Daniel proudly because in Laura's world, trust was the foundation of everything. At first it was small things, Daniel laughing a little too easily when Chloe was around. Quick glances across the conference table, Laura told herself it was her imagination. But slowly, Daniel started pulling away. Date nights got rescheduled. Texts got shorter, conversations felt thinner. It is just work stress, she told herself. She held on tighter, because sometimes, when you start to feel someone slipping, you try to hold them even closer. Then came the company retreat, a weekend that was supposed to be about strategy, team building, and instead revealed everything. Laura had been too busy or too trusting to see. She saw them. Daniel and Chloe standing too close, laughing too easily. The way Daniel looked at Chloe, it was not the way you look at a colleague. It was the way you look at someone when your heart has already started making promises, your mouth has not spoken yet. Laura felt her stomach twist, but she still hoped maybe she was wrong. Maybe it was just in her head. Until the night she borrowed Daniel's phone to send a quick email and a message popped up from Chloe. "I cannot wait until it is just us. No confusion, no doubts." Laura stood there staring at the screen, and she realized she had been training her own replacement. She did not scream. She did not cry. She simply looked up, saw the life she had built, saw the betrayal woven through it, and decided she would not stay somewhere. She was no longer respected. Laura packed her things, finished her last project, and left with her head held high, because some victories are not about staying, they are about knowing when to walk away before someone else decides for you. Some betrayals do not come with loud arguments. They come with quiet realizations, with small moments where you suddenly see the truth laid bare. Laura's heartbreak did not come from a single moment. It came from the slow unfolding of a trust she had given freely, and a loyalty she thought was mutual. We are taught to believe that if we work hard enough, love deeply enough, trust fully enough, people will meet us there. But the truth is, loyalty cannot be taught. It cannot be trained into someone. It must be chosen every day without conditions, without convenience. Daniel did not betray Laura in one grand act. He betrayed her a little more. Every time he smiled at Chloe differently, every time he chose excitement over commitment. Chloe, for all her ambition, was not the villain Laura needed to chase. The real betrayal was in Daniel's choice, in the quiet decisions he made long before Laura ever saw that message. Healing for Laura will not come from blaming herself for being trusting, for being kind, for believing in people. It will come from realizing that trust is not weakness. Betrayal says nothing about the person who trusted, and everything about the one who broke it. Laura's real victory was not in catching them, not in confronting them. Her real victory was in choosing herself, in walking away before their betrayal could rewrite who she knew herself to be. Because real strength is not staying where you are, not valued. It is knowing when to close the chapter and start writing a better one, towards yourself. Now let us take a moment to listen to the voices from the Reddit community. Because sometimes strangers can say the very words our hearts have been too tired to find. Own trust is not weakness, wrote. Teaching someone is an act of generosity. Betrayal is an act of their character, not yours. 999K likes. This comment captures Laura's journey perfectly. Her kindness was never the mistake. It was Daniel's failure to honor that kindness that revealed his truths. To stay strong. Laura wrote, "Loyalty is not about staying when things are easy. It is about standing beside someone when temptation knocks." Chapter 10. Wake. Likes. Beautifully said. Loyalty is not a passive feeling. It is an active choice. Laura deserved someone who would choose her every single day. So betrayal. In Silence wrote, "Some betrayals do not shout. They whisper in forgotten conversations and in glances you tried not to notice." 8K likes. This feels so true. Laura's heartbreak was not sudden. It was a slow unraveling, and sometimes that kind of silence hurts even more. Know when to leave, wrote, "Walking away without begging for answers is the loudest way you can say you deserve better." 1K likes. This comment speaks to real power. Laura's strength was not in fighting to stay. It was in choosing herself and walking away without looking back. So Replacement Trained wrote, "You did not lose. You evolved past people who could not meet you where you stood." 7K likes. Exactly. Laura did not lose anything that day. She simply outgrew a space that was no longer worthy of her. Reading these comments reminds us that sometimes survival is not about fighting harder. It is about knowing when to stop fighting for people who were never really fighting for you. Have you ever realized you were giving your best to people who had already chosen to leave? Share your story in the comments. Your voice matters here.